Paging Dr. Callas. Let's get dialed in. Good evening and welcome to Texas Talkin, the only show in the Lone Star State where we combine smoke with political fire. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the smell is real. I'm your host, Shiloh Platts, spirit animal of the Texas right. Cowboy hat on, mic hot, and dialed in. Tonight, we're talking about a man who has more credentials than most politicians have excuses, Dr. Ray Callas. Now, here's the deal. When you think of politicians, you think of lawyers, lobbyists, or the guy who's been running for something since the Nixon administration. What you don't think of is a man who's actually saved lives. Dr. Callas has spent decades as a physician caring for families, making tough calls in real emergencies. He's also a Navy veteran who served us honorably in Desert Storm. Now compare that to Austin, where the toughest call most lawmakers make is whether to order the shrimp cocktail or the ribeye at Perry's Steakhouse. And that's exactly why Dr. Callas is running for Texas State Representative. Because when you've stared real problems in the face, when you've walked patients and their families through life and death moments, you're not about to get rattled by a committee hearing or some lobbyist whining in your ear. This man knows pressure, he knows responsibility, and he knows how to fix things that are broken. Even better, he's a Texas conservative through and through. Faith, family, freedom. Dr. Callas doesn't just say those words, folks, he lives them. He understands that we don't need more government meddling. We need more liberty. We don't need more gimmicks. We need more grit. And frankly, that's been missing in our district for far too long. So here's the choice, and it's a simple one. Do we keep recycling the same political insiders who think service means table service at the Capitol Grill? Or do we send a man who's actually served people in the most personal way possible by saving their lives? For me, the answer is obvious. Dr. Callas isn't just a candidate. He's the prescription Texas needs. And folks, trust me when I say this doctor makes house calls. Now count backwards from 3. Dr. Callas joins me next. And joining us now is prominent Beaumont anesthesiologist and Republican candidate for Texas House District 21, Dr. Ray Callas. Dr. Callas, thanks for coming on.
Hey, it's an honor and privilege to be with you tonight, Shiloh. I can't wait for us to have a conversation.
Me too. So tell us, starting out in the conversation, why are you running for state representative?
I'm running because I think that I have the ultimate goal and the support of Southeast Texas. I really do believe, talking to constituents from Orange, Jasper, Vidor, Nearland, Beaumont, all over the district, people encourage me to run. And so I have that God-given passion. I have that commitment, and my family's supporting me. So, hey, I'm ready to do it. Let's go.
I want to ask you about something pretty much right out of the gate. So I endorsed you pretty quickly early on in your campaign after you had announced. And, I was even kind of putting things out there saying, Dr. Callas, we need you to run. And almost immediately on social media, I started getting called a rhino. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Shiloh Platts, the firebrand conservative, a rhino for endorsing Ray Callas because of positions that Texas Medical Association had taken and you had taken years ago about vaccine mandates, COVID vaccines, lockdowns, etc. How do you respond to that criticism?
I don't want to take too much of your time, Shiloh, with this, but I want to get to the crux of this problem. It started back whenever I was born in 1969. I was blessed to have a mother and father that made us sit at a dinner table and made us come together. And my dad used to sit there at the table and say, hey, you have chores to do. He was the man of the house. He was the one that told me and my brother what we had to do. And so I listened. And I've always listened to role models and leadership. So I'm going to fast forward to 1988 when I put my hand on the Bible to protect this country during the Gulf War. I also had leaders during that time that told me what I had to do. And so, you know what? I never questioned leadership because I was always the one that was following commands, and I believe in the chain of command. So then, God forbid, I was happened to be in a leadership role in the Southeast Texas area as a practicing full-time anesthesiologist, and we were told we need to get the vaccination, and we were told we need to isolate from each other and wear masks. I didn't question the president. I didn't question the CDC. I didn't question the governor. The only thing I did is I followed commands. I followed that chain of command. And guess what? I was in that fight every single day. Every single day, I was the first anesthesiologist to have a patient die. I literally went from the OR where a patient asked me and their family, "Hey, Dr. Callas, if you can't, if you don't take him to the OR, he's going to die. Are you willing to do that?" I said, "Yes, I am." First, I prayed to God, said, "Give me blessings, Lord. Give me my hands. Let me take care of this person." I went to the OR. After the OR was done, I brought him back to the ICU. I stayed in the ICU. Unfortunately, that person died from COVID. And so then I was fighting not only to protect my family, I would go home and kiss my wife and my kids and saying, "Please, Lord, give me another day," because I was in that battle every single day. Every day, Shiloh, every day I was in that operating room knowing I was putting my life out on the line, but I was also sacrificing my own conservative selfishness that I could maybe never see my wife and kids again. But I cared about Southeast Texas and I cared about the patients.
And we
But
didn't know what the hell was going on
hell
when this
no, we didn't
first came
know.
out.
Hell no. I was literally taking my clothes off outside the house, getting sprayed down, walking into the house. My wife was putting alcohol and my clothes were contaminated and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to speed up this story. I'm a man of honesty. I'm a man of integrity. I'm a man of ethics and commitment. Would I have done that today? No.
Knowing what we know today, if you knew then, you're
Yes,
saying you would have made a different decision.
150,000%. And I'll be the first to admit it. I'll be the first to admit it, Shiloh, on this show. I was wrong. Most people don't accept taking responsibility.
Most politicians don't admit when they make a mistake, or most
Totally
people
agree.
running for office. So I admire that and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So that's
so
what happened.
What's that?
I said that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. And I want to ask you, Dr. Callas, because some of the other criticism that's been vocal and prevalent on social media, which is mostly where it's coming from, is TMA's positions they've taken on what I call genital mutilation, what some people call gender reassignment surgery. Where does Dr. Ray Callas stand on gender reassignment surgery?
Zero chance. Zero chance. And I'm being very respectful, Shiloh. I want to say some other words.
That. It's a family program, doctor.
You're right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm saying there is no bone in my body. There's nothing in my DNA, my framework. I'm a Catholic. I'm pro-life. And I believe there's only a man and a woman. And so there is no way, no how that I believe in gender reassignment surgery or anything that's going to change the sex.
And I heard you tell a group of people recently that you would rather lose your medical license than be forced to perform one of those surgeries.
I will never do one of those surgeries. No one will force me to do something I don't believe in. And I would rather have my medical license revoked by practicing what I believe.
God bless you. So what are your key issues that you want to address as our next state representative in Austin?
The first big key issue that I would really like to see, besides talking about making sure we close our borders, making sure we protect the Second Amendment rights, making sure that we continue to protect the life of a baby. I'm pro-life. But where I want to go is that we have a diamond in the rough in Southeast Texas. What I'd like to start doing is to allow kids that are in high school not only have an opportunity, let's start educating and training them to be plumbers, electrician, operators, blue collar work.
It pays well.
100% it pays well. I would tell you that I would argue that what we used to preach whenever I was growing up, you had to go to college. I think that's a flawed philosophy.
I do too.
I think that we should allow not only parents decide on where their children go to school related to pro-choice, school choice, but also believe that I want to be able to have a kid that comes out of high school that can be employed by Motiva, be employed by Exxon, be employed by the port, be employed by the railroad. Because you know what? It's a proud profession. That is my number one goal, that I want to help and support blue collar workers, because it's not an embarrassment. It's the best thing to promote not only the future, but also gives you a retirement plan, and it will give you providing for your family that you can raise a family and have a successful career. That's the biggest thing that I want to promote in Southeast Texas.
So I think that you're uniquely qualified in many ways to identify with blue collar people. Yes, you're a very successful, prominent position. You've done very well for yourself, and I commend you for that. But most people don't know the Ray Callas that I've gotten to know, and that is you came from humble beginnings. Your father, as you've told me, worked 2 jobs. Tell our viewers a little bit about what it was like growing up as Ray Callas in Galveston, Texas.
I will tell you, whenever I finally was old enough to have a job, which I was still not 16, I was 11 years old. My dad, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us anymore, but I'm glad he gave me the ethics and the integrity that built my heart, my soul, my passion for what I believe in today. He taught me that you need to start working and work. I've always had a job since I was 12 years old. And I think I told the people that I'm talking about, I was literally one day, I didn't want to go to work. And my dad went to work for me with a master's, an MD, and a PhD, because he told me we do not let a small business down. So he went and culled shrimp at a bait camp for $2.45, $2.50 an hour with a MB, with a master's, MD, and a PhD, because he said, son, you better take care of the small business. And I still remember that. But since that time, Shiloh, I had a job not only whenever I was in high school, not only whenever I was in college, but military. I was not an officer. I was enlisted.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I was not an officer. I was enlisted. So I worked my behind off to protect this country. And I swore my hand to God and to this country that I'd defend this country, foreign and domestic, till death do us part. I believe in that to this day. I'm a blue collar firefighter, first responder, military man, that I want to be your next state representative, because guess what? I'm not one with the golden spoon in my mouth. I've worked every single day since I've been alive, since my dad gave me the opportunity at 12 years old to work at Hook's Bait Camp right across the causeway in Galveston, Texas. That's where I cut my teeth for my first job.
One of the issues that is really choking so many Texans right now is property taxes and how out of control they've gotten. What ideas do you have, or what are your views on going to Austin and finally, once and for all, solving this problem? Just because they keep going up and up and up. And there are folks who are retired who simply can't afford to pay their property taxes.
And I'm glad you brought this up, Shiloh, because it's almost sad to me whenever I go around our district and I talk to men and women that have worked their behinds off to be able to retire. And it's sad when they look at me eye to eye and they say, I can't retire. I can't retire because I even if I own my home, I really don't own my home.
They rent it from the government.
100%. They're leasing it from the government because the property taxes are way out of control. But what I'd like to see is we need to maintain infrastructure. We need to maintain bridges, roads, security, and all that stuff that the tax will bring. But the one tax that's really driving me crazy is this quasi independent school district tax that is completely out of control. I think that what we need to do is not call it an umbrella property tax. Let's open it up and let's look and see how we can lower taxes by lowering like, for example, I live in Jefferson County and I pay Beaumont Independent School District tax, and my kids don't even go to Beaumont Independent School District, but my taxes are so high and there's no benefit for that. I would like to make sure that we make not only men and women that are working people that deserve to retire, we got to lower their property taxes in order for they can retire and live the American dream, that they own their facility, they own their home, they own whatever they own, and they're not being burdened on property tax. But With that being said, we can't do away with all property tax because we have to maintain roads, infrastructure, security, police. But I want to look and cut as much as I can and cut the fat off to where men and women can retire and live comfortably after they work their life to be able to do that.
You've had some very, very strong endorsements from some of the most successful, prominent conservatives across Texas since you announced. What I really see this campaign as is an opportunity to unify Republicans in our district, not behind a personality, behind a person, but behind the idea that somebody who is a solid conservative like you are can get elected in HD 21 and be effective when they get to Austin and have the support of the other Republicans that you'll need the support of in order to get things done. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm glad you talked about that. I am tired of our party being divided. What I want to do is that you don't need training wheels on my bike. My bike is ready to roll. And what I have built is a complete arsenal of
a coalition.
Yes, support from everyone from the most formal conservative to the most middle of the road conservative. But guess what? I'm going to represent all of Southeast Texas, but I'm not going to be worried about any of these other kind of side noise. I want to bring the United Southeast Texas HD 21 where we work together as a team. I promise you, Shiloh, to you and your viewers, I'm going to be that guy. I am not scared. I'm not worried. I'm committed to taking care of all of Southeast Texas. And you know what? Anyone that calls me a rhino, that is completely ludicrous.
I agree.
Why would I have Ted Cruz come to my house 5 years in a row? Why would I have people like Brandon Creighton, the most conservative in the Texas Senate? He hadn't endorsed anybody else, but he endorsed me. And I mean, I could go on and on. I don't want to waste a lot of people's time, but I'm not a rhino. There's nothing in my vocabulary that calls me a rhino.
Well, Dr. Callas, I thought I'd heard it all until people started calling me a rhino. I get it. Believe me.
You're right.
And you're exactly right, though. You wouldn't have these prominent conservative political figures, Republicans, coming out so early on and endorsing you. Even the lieutenant governor, who is very conservative, I argue. Right. And I think you've got a couple of other, I won't mention any names, but you've got some other huge endorsements lined up from very conservative, very popular Republicans that people will see in the coming weeks and months.
Well, the reason why we didn't do it right away, Shiloh, because I wanted to give every man or woman that is a legislator that wanted to make sure they're proud of my endorsement. I wanted to make sure that they have their own name coming out at the time. I mean, I'm also getting endorsements from sheriffs all along the district. I'm also getting endorsements. Also, there's going to be one that's going to blow everyone's mind because once he rolls out and you see that he's endorsed me, there's no way you're going to call me a rhino. And you know what? I'm even embarrassed that me and you, Shiloh, are talking. You're the most conservative guy I know. And I guarantee you endorsing me, I'm definitely not a rhino. Never.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And that's what I keep telling people. I'm all in on it, brother. And I can't wait to see what we can accomplish here in District 21 and in Southeast Texas for our community, for our Republican Party, and for this great state of ours. Where can people go, finally, Dr. Callas, to learn more about you, get involved maybe with the campaign, or even donate money if they want to get behind you?
All right, so I'm going to let everybody know you don't call me Dr. Callas. You call me Ray.
I call you Ray off camera, so I'll call you Ray on camera too.
Please, that's what I'm saying, because you know what? That is my profession. I want you to talk to me like I talk to you. Shiloh, Ray, me and you are very close friends. But where we're going is that we got a train that's running. I mean, that Trump train, it's called the Callas train now. We're doing it at raycallas4texas.com. That's RayCallasForTexas.com. And, you can go on there. You can donate. You can get involved. But more importantly, I'm going, and I already have fundraisers set up in all parts of the district. But the biggest one that's coming out first, Shiloh, and I would love for everyone to come. Mind you, I'm a big Aggie. Big conservative Aggie. So I'm going to tell you, October 25th is a big, giant fundraiser that they're doing for me at Big Rich Corville's on Highway 90 right outside of Beaumont. And we're going to have the Texas A&M LSU game on, and we're going to be doing a lot of things. We got the Kaiser Brother band playing. We got all kind of people. It's going to be phenomenal. But I'm also going to Vidor. I'm going to Orange. I'm inviting everybody. Just because you don't live there, come on down. You're going
I'll
to
be
able to
there.
come and talk. I know you're going to be there, and I can't wait for you to be there. But anything y'all can do, I'm also, and I think Shiloh, you can tell your whole team that's listening to your viewing area. I'm a man that I will answer my phone. I'm not scared to answer tough questions because guess what?
I've watched you do it.
Callas is your representative, and that's all I want to do is represent HD21.
Amen. May God bless you, Ray, and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas. Thank you for helping us keep Texas talking.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Shiloh, and I can't thank you enough for what you're doing, and thank you for putting it out there.
Yes, sir. Stay dialed in to interviews and content just like this by clicking that follow button on my Facebook page, or hit the subscribe button to learn more about exclusive access that you won't want to miss.